Hola, it's Gabby here, and today I'm going to make drinking cars. I'm going to make a car with, I will say a cocktail, margarita, martini, I don't know, really, because this type of glass, it can be for different drinks. I'm making right now the tables. I'm going to use just one because I decide later on the other car I'm going to place it in another type of sort of, well, it's about it's the same shape, but it's going to be different. I'm add a little bit of brown, a light brown, and then I press it with the embossing folder, like wood grain, and then I'm going to add darker brown. That way you can see more the wood grain. Now I'm going to prepare like my panel is going to be a beach. Um, I'm going to make the sun and the ocean and the sky, all with distress inks. I'm going to tape the panel to make the sun and the sky connected to the sea in straight lines. Normally the sky and the sea are in a straight line, but the waves in the beach, they are not. But this is the faster, better way for me to make this card, because I have a lot of steps, and then I want to do the panel a little bit faster. Then the sky I'm going to make it with a stencil. We're going to grab very light blue. I want to add a some, add it also with distress inks, but I forget about it. But if you want to add the sun, just place a circle before you add the clouds. Place a circle in masking tape, and then you put it up, that part stays white, and you color it. Now I'm coloring the scenes that I'm going to add in the cocktail. I add an umbrella, and I add a piece of orange. This piece of orange, I was looking at it and sometimes look at like it's a piece of pineapple. It's for that I am not sure it's an orange or a pineapple. Maybe you can paint it with the outside in green and it look more like a pineapple. But for me, it look more like orangey than a pineapple. Well, I get stuck in that fruit dilemma. After I coloring everything, I just going to, as you see, to add the seeds on the piece of fruit. I add double-sided tape in the back, and I just press the seeds on that part, and that's it. When I finish doing this, I'm going to grab. I cut these cups, these glasses, on acetate, and I also cut it in this kind of pearlescent vellum. And I'm going to use my sticker maker, and I'm going to pass all the glass, the one in vellum, the one in acetate, and I also going to add one in color acetate, in this case yellow, and I'm going to glue first to the acetate the color of the drink, and then I'm going to glue in the back. The last piece is going to be the vellum. I want to add the glass like this without the vellum, but I did try it and it disappeared in the card. It doesn't look like that much. If for that I add a little bit of vellum. If you want to, this is pearlescent, like I say, vellum, but because I was thinking going to giving a little bit of glass feeling, but I think normal vellum is going to be fine also. I got also a straw Oh, the glasses, the martini glass, I cut it with my cricut machine. They have several images of a different type of glasses. Also, the other one that I'm going to use for the other car. I also cut a coconut, and I cut I don't know how it's called in English, but in Spanish it's called cayena. It's a flower, it's a very tropical flower that is used, well, I think then used in the hair of the Hawaiian ladies, um, in like a ornament in their hairs. Because I want this to be very tropical, I cut one of these flowers and I color also in distress inks. When you see coloring the flower I'm using, is you see me using a mat that is very stained. That's a very nice mat to use for coloring when you don't want to hold too much your little scenes. When you in this mat, when you color small scenes, you don't have to hold it. When you color big scenes, you have to hold them, but lightly. It's not much. This is the mat that I'm talking right now. You will see that I'm not holding them. They stay put very well. You don't have to glue them down to the table with masking tape, put them backwards or anything like that. They are great for small things. Like you really don't have to hold them that much. After I finished assembling the flower, it took me a little bit of time to figure it out. This is the first time I use this die cut. It's very pretty. I'm going to cut. I'm going to try to see where I want it. If I want it next to the glass or I want it next to the coconut. And I decide to put it next to the coconut with a foam tape. I added to the card with a foam tape. I also going to cut piece of palm tree, and I'm going to add it to the top of the car. I know the car maybe is not correct in dimensions or perspective, but like I say, we are not looking for realistic cars. We are just having a lot of fun playing with our craft supplies and our inks. When I'm finished adding the poultry, I also going to add a small share that look like is far, is neck close to the shore of the beach. I was trying to look a place for a sentiment, but I didn't find any. I always forget about the sentiments, and sometimes I think I do it on purpose. And I add 3 drops of these are plastic like droplets, and I add 3, and the way they look like the glass is dripping a little bit of water because it's cold and the beach is hot. I just add some details with white gel pen, and my card will be done. After I finish this card, now I'm going to play with a different shape of glass. I'm getting ahead of my video again. I always do the same thing. I don't know why I do that, but it's maybe because I talk too fast, and I shouldn't, because English is not my forte. And maybe if I talk slowly, I understand myself better. But okay, the second card is going to be in the countryside, and it's going to be with a wine glass. I decorate all the hills part with distress inks, playing with darker and lighter greens. And after that, I'm going to do the same thing with the glass of wine. You will see I will pass them through my sticker maker, and I'm going to add first the acetate, then the vellum, and then the color acetate. Right now I'm just stamping little trees I stamped them a lot. I don't know how many I was going to use. It's for that I stamped several. I didn't use them all. And I'm going to cut them with a scissor, fussy cutting. But except for the flowers, the little tiny flowers, that's because they have a stem, they're going to be very hard to cut with scissors. Those I cut up with the die cut that come in this stamp set. But for them to look like they don't have any border, I just color the border in green. And when you glue them down to a green background, they look like they are cut. Perfect. Well, perfect, no, nothing's perfect, but they look good. I'm going to add a sky a little bit only because the heel is going to be almost to the top of the card. In this card, I remember the sentiment. This card, I say, oh, I need to leave a space for the sentiment. Maybe that way I have variety. I don't think I decorated inside of these cards. Like I say always, I almost never do it because if I want to use the card for different occasion, I have my inside empty and I can add it later to give it to someone. I glue the heels first together and then I glued them to the card panel. And one of the heel was bigger and I just cut what is hanging outside the card panel. After that, I'm just going to add the base where I'm going to put my cup of wine. And like I say, I was going to use a wood table, but in this case, I say no. It will look better if the table has a tablecloth. And it's for that I cut the same shape, but in this pattern paper. And right now, after this, what I'm going to do is what I already explained ahead, like again. I need to hold myself. Like you seen here, I just taking my scenes out of my sticker maker and gluing one on top of the other one. If you feel that the acetate will be enough for you, but I really feel the acetate get lost in the color background, you can see it's there, but not that much. Don't add the vellum. I think all depends about taste. Adding everywhere, no prediction before what I was going to glue the little trees and little flowers. And also, if you have a die cut that is a very small tiny houses, it will be awesome to glue 3 or 4 little tiny houses here and there. After I glue everything, I was thinking, what else can I put in the table? And I think, what would go good with wine? And I think about cheese. I color the cheese in glossy paper because I think cheese are shiny. And I also want to add, I didn't do it on camera, but I add water to this and the cheese look like all spotted. You can do that also with alcohol inks. The cheese also, I cut it in my cricut machine because I couldn't find, I have a cheese die cut, but it's super small. And I cut this knife. This is a die cut. This is a die cut. And after this, I'm going to add the same drops that I add in the other card that look like water is dropping out of the glasses. And I also going to add this sentiment. And after that, I'm going to glue my card to my card base. And that will be it. My cards are ready. Well, thank you for watching my videos. Until next card. Goodbye.